what? I have always thought I was a happy-go-lucky guy, and I don't know how I got there, but Andrea Goeglein knows how I got there. The How to Happiness. Andrea, welcome.
Thank you,
back to the show.
Thank you, as always.
How did I get happy?
How did you get happy?
Yeah.
Well, 50% of it you were actually born with.
Oh,
really?
Absolutely.
And then there's another 40% they have found that you actually do things in your life that help encourage the 50% that you were born with. So that gives you about 90%.
Wow.
And then there's only 10% left. And the 10% are circumstances. And you really can't do a lot to affect that 10%. If things are not good, they are not good. And that is the part you don't affect. But this particular author, Sonia Lobromowski.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yes, and I want you to know that I actually called a few people yesterday, including the publisher, to find out. It's Lubomirsky.
Yeah.
Let me say it correctly.
Couldn't you just changed it to Smith?
Well, you know, she has a beautiful story herself. Yeah. She came to the United States as, I believe it was a Russian immigrant as a child, around 14 years old. Family did not have very much money, and she was fortunate enough to be quite intellectual and got into scholarships at a very young age. That allowed her to start doing research. And one of the things that I appreciate about the field of positive psychology and all of the grounding researchers is that they are not the most happy, naturally, the set point, not the happiest people on the face of the earth. They really walk their talk. They are so committed to this work that they know that, you know what, we are born with a set point, and then there are things we can do to enhance that. And they've committed their lives to that enhancement research.
And don't you think, Andrea, that's why sometimes people who are not the most happy people on the face of the earth are drawn to this type of research and writing, because they are searching for it themselves?
You know, I'm not quite sure. Absolutely. There is a thing that we teach what we need to learn, and that is one of my many mottos. Yeah. And I do find in this, I have just been very, very heartened by the people who are the grounding scientists in this field.
Yeah, that's the interesting point that I found. It's a scientific.
Absolutely.
This is scientific research or approach.
Yes.
But now there's so many. Now let's cut to the chase here.
Yes.
And you know we're going to get there.
Yes.
I mean, there's a zillion of those.
Yes.
Okay. What makes this self-help book
as a practitioner, as a person who applies positive psychology, what I appreciated about this book was two things. Number one, it is the raw science and not written in a scientific way. Raw science means that it, in fact, everything she suggests that you do has been substantiated by research behind it. Okay. This isn't just her sitting around with 10 of her friends. So it's not pie in the sky. Right. And I felt it was time for our audience to be exposed to a book like this, because over the course of the last year in the media, lots and lots has been written about happiness. Happiness books are dumping on the market like crazy. And out of respect for the good work, the work that in fact is grounded, that does have substantiation behind it.
So can we learn to be happy?
We can absolutely learn to be happy, and I have brought a chart. She is known for her cherry pie chart, where she shows, which is on the front of the cover. Okay. I chose to use a chocolate bar because chocolate, and dark chocolate in particular,
now this one I'm eating off of.
Oh, hush, hush, hush. We'll get there.
I ate off of that one.
We'll ignore the part that has been eaten off of. But since chocolate is my Prozac of choice, and it is known to naturally increase. What I did, you know, if you think of a whole chocolate bar as your life, okay?
I'd like to do that.
Well, believe me, life is like a box of chocolates for me. A full 50% you come into the world with. So you get that much. This is your set point. And that is the part that, yes, like for you, it may be higher. And I can kind of sense that you were given a higher set point naturally than I was. However, 40% of it, is totally left to my own demise.
So it's choice.
Absolutely.
We make a choice for 40%.
Absolutely. So minus that one little bite that Tanya took. This is how much we can control. That's exactly right. This is how much we can control. Of all of this, this is all that we really can't. and that's life circumstances. I'd rather put my bet, you know I come from Las Vegas,
yep.
my bet's on the 90%, not on the 10.
Well, I'd rather eat the whole bar.
Now, there is an enormous amount of truth in that.
But in part of that, in the science, did they talk about worry? Because 90%, I think I've heard a stat that 90 or 95% of the things that we worry about and so therefore we can't be happy,
Correct.
Never come to pass.
Correct. And that is one of the staying present is one of the research things, because if you are staying present, generally what we know about worry is caused by thoughts of either something that happened in the past or something you are afraid will happen in the future.
Right.
Generally, if you examine this moment in time, there is nothing for you to worry about. And so staying present, the concept of staying present is truly about how do I keep my thoughts on what I am doing right now, like the chocolate that we have to eat, the beautiful book we have to give away, all of those kind of things, the wonderful company. Yes.
And so I'm thinking, we don't have to do this commercial.
Well, we do like to get paid, don't we?
Oh. So we
Makes
do
us
have
a lot happier.
It will make us a lot happier.
Because that was going to be in the future.
It is, you know,
but now it's right now.
It is right now.
So Andrea, you stay put, and Tanya's going to talk to you about, if you want to be happy, and I mean really happy, the whole family, Tanya has the answer for you.
Don't worry, just be happy. Go to Blazing M Ranch. It's on the banks of the Verde River. You can learn to rope, you can learn to target shoot, and you can learn to shoe horses. I was going to say horseshoe. You can learn to shoe horses. The Barnyard Critter Walk is a favorite, but check out Blazing M Ranch for the entire family. Take the entire family there. Make it a vacation, make it a weekend, make it just a day trip. Whatever you want, you can be happy there. With us is Andrea Goeglein talking about the How of Happiness, the book of the month, and this is the book she recommends that you read if you do not read any other self-help book or happiness book, and we know there's a ton of them on the market. You're talking about the set point, and you're talking about how that's arrived at. Also, a very interesting thing is that they have studied twins.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, everyone will always ask the question, what is this set point? How do they come up? Where's that 50% come from?
Yeah.
Well, the 50%,
I'm gonna eat my 40%.
yes, you can start eating. You can start eating away at your happiness.
I'm thinking the 10%.
Right.
That's 40. No, that's
what
dead.
happens was they studied twins, identical twins, because the DNA match in identical twins is actually matched, mirror matched. Whereas in fraternal twins, you don't have any greater likelihood genetically of having a match than you would any other sibling. So what they did was study the two sets of types of twins, and then realized that within the identical twins, they in fact had similar within range set points. And that set point meant the natural point that you go back to regardless of what's happening in your life at any given time.
Now let's get down to the brass tacks, shall we?
Okay.
Because you said 50% is my set point.
Correct.
What's inside that set point?
I honestly will say that I don't know that, and I'm not quite sure they can pinpoint it that specifically. What they can tell, as they did with the twins, when they study twins at birth, and then 20 years later they can start seeing how you adjust to situations and what your natural attribute. And there is a questionnaire, and one of the many reasons why I enjoy this book, there is a diagnostic questionnaire that you can take to determine at this moment what is my level of happiness. And then there are specific exercises, and what I truly appreciate as a practitioner of this work is that not only are there the exercises, but for the first time there is a questionnaire that you give to someone to help determine which of the many exercises are the ones that you will resonate with, that you naturally, because there are some exercises, and I've found this, that I think is the world greatest thing. I give it to a client, and what resistance looks like is that they never do it. Oh, look.
What kind of exercises? I'm assuming this is mental psychological
very beautiful things. One, and to my understanding, gratitude and building gratitude in your life is something that all people do. If you don't like building gratitude, get over it and start liking it. It's that important.
That contributes to happiness.
Absolutely, on a moment-by-moment basis. And